There's a lot of people to thank. And on behalf of the managing board of the forum, I'd also like to express our appreciation to our colleagues for all their many efforts since the last annual meeting and to make this Davos so special. And to our partners that worked tirelessly to create this special atmosphere and unique environment. And to the staff of the Congress Center for their care and attention throughout the annual meeting. And over the past 4 days, there have been many exciting ideas and new proposals that have emerged from our time together in Davos. So I have the great pleasure, I'd like to now invite Børge Brende, President of the World Economic Forum, to share some of the key initiatives, conclusions, and next steps from the 2019 annual meeting. Børge?
Thank you, Lee. Dear friends, rather than bidding farewell, I'm here to thank you for a great annual meeting and invite you on a shared journey ahead. We see it as the beginning of a journey together for the year ahead, as the first step in our way to shape a new architecture that is adapted to the age of the fourth industrial revolution. In this context, to remind us also of the significance of the task that awaits us, it may be useful to revisit some of the key outcomes that were achieved during the annual meeting. The forum's Closing the Skills Gap initiative launched last year at our annual meeting with a target to reskill and upskill 10 million workers by 2020, announced during this meeting that it has already secured pledges for training more than 17 million people globally, 6.4 million of whom have already been reskilled. Voice for the Planet, a global campaign to build a movement for a new deal for nature and people, was launched on Tuesday by Vice President Al Gore, Prime Minister Ardern of New Zealand, and Anand Mahindra of Mahindra. The campaign garnered 21,000 individual pledges within 48 hours. 5 Asian countries dump more plastic into oceans than any else combined. The Global Plastic Action Partnership, GPAP, announced its first national partnership in Indonesia to be launched in March. We are walking the talk. A group of international businesses teamed to launch partnership for global LGBTI equality. Members of partnership agrees to operationalize the UN's LGBTI standards of conduct worldwide across their businesses by 2020. The partnership plans to enlist at least 50 other member companies by 2020, mobilizing the private sector. The forum launched a new initiative preparing civil society for the fourth industrial revolution, aimed at helping civil society meet the challenges presented by the rapid technological change. The Wellcome Trust committed $260 million over 5 years to improving our basic understanding of depression and anxiety. The research will concentrate on psychological therapies that can be delivered early in life and early in the onset of illness, as mental health problems typically start at a young age. Valuable 500 launched a new campaign aimed at releasing the social and economic potential of the 1.3 billion people around the world who live with a disability. This campaign will seek to sign up 500 global businesses to commit to putting disability on their board agendas only this year. A group of 70+ countries today confirmed intentions to commence WTO negotiations on trade-related aspects of e-commerce following a ministerial meeting in the margins of our annual meeting. Positive signs even on the trade side. I hope it will inspire other players too. Prime Minister Abe stood on this stage of Japan, committed his country's G20's chairmanship to launch an agenda for global data governance. The engine for growth is fueled no longer by gasoline, but more and more by digital data, the Prime Minister underlined. The forum teamed with the World Bank and the International Committee of the Red Cross, ICRC, to launch a high-level group on humanitarian investing to unlock private sector capital for investment in fragile economies, in particular to move away from short-term emergency-driven funding to long-term investing in people affected by crisis. The annual meeting has truly evolved into also a safe and trusted space of diplomatic dialogues. The forum facilitated multi-stakeholder diplomacy dialogues on key global fault lines to advance peace efforts with the support of relevant international organizations and the private sector. In this context, we continue dialogues on Venezuela, Sahel, and Syria, and convened public-private community of leaders for a special dialogue on Israeli-Palestinian relations. This meeting, I just came from it, also saw the gathering of top Israeli and Palestinian business and political leaders to underscore the importance of a two-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. They also agreed concrete steps to boost the Palestinian economy in the context of the Fourth Industrial Revolution through the support of startups and entrepreneurships. This makes a huge difference. With the support of Prime Minister Abiy of Ethiopia, we held a diplomatic dialogue on the Horn of Africa, which I hope will bolster his efforts to bring peace and prosperity to the region. Also, we initiated discussions on the Korean Peninsula, European-Russian relations, and on the new development architecture for Africa-Europe engagement. Through our platform, the President of Azerbaijan and Prime Minister of Armenia met to advance negotiations on the settlement of the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. Also, today, the Greek Parliament meets to ratify the agreement that was reached following an initial discussion in Davos exactly 1 year ago to solve the name dispute with the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia and to normalize relations between the two countries. The Forum Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution Network, established in 2008, initiated by Professor Schwab, announced it had grown to more than 100 businesses and governments, including 5 G7 nations. Meanwhile, the network also welcomed countries of Colombia, Israel, UAE, with affiliated centers. A pilot project to protect airports and other critical infrastructure from cyber attacks was also launched at the annual meeting under the leadership of our new Center for Cyber Security. I could have continued. The list is long. But dear friends, let's get inspired by the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres that put it in such consequential way yesterday when he said, we need more integrated global action to repair broken trust and uphold dignity for all. In the era of globalization 4.0, achieving this and shape a global architecture that is adapted to the new and pressing challenges we are faced with is crucial. This imperative will certainly not be met unless all stakeholders are at the table. As the Forum celebrates its 50th anniversary next year, we will not be resting on our laurels. We will be looking ahead to improve the state of the world for the next 50 years by continuing to leverage our platform for public-private cooperation in the common interest. Finally, I would like to thank our founder and executive chairman, Professor Klaus Schwab, for creating this unique organization in 1971. If it didn't exist, I think someone would have had to create it, because we cannot solve the most pressing global challenges without a unique partnership between governments, business, and civil society. I also would like to thank our dear participants, who are also our partners for impact. And I would like to thank my colleagues at the World Economic Forum. Without your dedication and efforts, this annual meeting would not have been possible. Thank you all, and see you soon. And then I will do another presentation, but thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to introduce a great friend of the World Economic Forum, a leading global supporter of the arts, and a vital voice for creating the access to opportunity that is so vitally important to achieve the best of the fourth industrial revolution. Built Vista Equity Partners, one of the largest enterprise and software firm in the world, making him Forbes magazine's 100 greatest living business minds. Underwrites countless organizations that create pipelines of talent from undeserved communities for business, public sector, civil society, and arts. Is chairman of Carnegie Hall, where his signature cause is to expand the hall to bring music into communities that might otherwise not have access. Robert's generosity in bringing the extraordinary Sphinx Virtuosi to Davos is emblematic of his values and generous spirit. Please join me in welcoming Robert Frederick Smith.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and Borge, thank you so much for the wonderful introduction and, frankly, the fantastic overview of what was one of the best, if not the best, annual meetings of the World Economic Forum. It is my pleasure to be here. For as long as I can remember, music has been an essential part of my life, an essential part of my soul. I grew up in a household where music was played all the time, and even as my life and career took me to far and away places, the right song always brought me back home. This is not an extraordinary story. In fact, the reason I share it is because it is so ordinary. Music has a transformative power, one that we all understand, even if we can't always describe it. Music transcends language, bridges continents, ignites our creative spirit, and inspires us to find the very best in ourselves. And that, to me, is exactly what brings us all to this snowy hamlet far from home. Simply put, music is a catalyst for exactly the kind of impact we came to Davos to create. And I can think of no better embodiment of music's transformative power than the four young artists who you're about to hear who are joining us: Sterling Elliott, Randall Gooseby, Hannah White, and Mira Williams. And these four people came to Davos thanks to the Sphinx organization. It's an international organization whose mission is to transform lives through the power of diversity in the arts. For over 22 years, Aaron Dworkin and his wife, Afa Dworkin, the executive director, have developed a program to reach over 10,000 young people annually in their combined programming in education and classical music presentation. They reach over 2 million additional people through live and broadcast performances. They have awarded almost $5 million in scholarships and artist grants, provided $500,000 for instruments for young artists, commissioned 18 new composers of color, and supported artists' performance in residence in 13 countries. As members of Sphinx Elite Chamber Orchestra called Sphinx Virtuosi, Hannah, Mira, Randall, and Sterling have played at some of the premier venues, including Carnegie Hall and the Kennedy Center. This afternoon, we have the privilege to experience their immense talent in person, and in collaboration with National Geographic and its Starstruck year-long celebration of space, the Virtuosi's music will be accompanied by stunning images of the planet we all share, and frankly strive to improve for future generations. It's a fitting send-off for our time together in Davos, a final shared moment experiencing the transformative power of the world's one universal language. May it inspire you to imagine, pursue, and realize a new world of possibilities. Ladies and gentlemen, until next year, I present to you the Sphinx Virtuosi.